Hey, welcome back, guys. I think we had a flawless transition from.
You didn't forget to mute?
No, I unmuted us. I did.
All right, so we're live.
We're live.
Okay. Week 2 of Month of Scary.
Month of Scary. Whoa.
That was not scary. That was dorky. Good job. That was worse.
You do it.
No, because it's dorky. All right. So we got a bit in this week. We got a good number of movies.
I think some decent ones too.
Weirdo. Right, he is. I know. But yet, I stick around.
That's right. She sticks around.
All right. So the first one is Kitchen Nightmares.
Hey, guest, welcome aboard.
Kitchen Nightmares.
That's a funny one.
Gordon Ramsay. So 2023 is this series that we started watching. So we got several episodes in. I want to say we were 5 to 6 episodes into this season.
This is a window into the restaurant industry.
Yeah, so Gordon Ramsay basically goes into these restaurants that are failing. And the ones that we watched, these restaurants were failing within their first year of being open.
Yep.
It was pretty sad.
The common theme with a lot of these restaurants is that they don't pay attention to what they buy, so their refrigerator has a lot of spoiled food.
How do you work in a restaurant and not have expiration dates or even what the item is labeled on the container? Okay, so I have not worked in a lot of fast food restaurants. I've worked at one. And that one, we knew what everything in every container was. It was labeled, it was dated, it was put in order of use by.
Was it a well-oiled machine?
Yeah, because I ran it.
That's right. All
Well,
the cogs
not
were
at
in
first
place.
I didn't. But I got to the point where I was kind of helping to shuffle everything around and get it going. But yeah, we knew what everything was. And if stuff got past its expiration date and it didn't get used, it went in the trash. It was not kept in the cooler. And everything got rotated. We were very, very sure everything got rotated. So that's how it should be. You should never. And this was at a fast food that I worked at.
I wonder if that...
So at a big restaurant, man, they should be on top of their game. They should not have that sloppy, messy, oily crap all over everything.
And spoiled chicken. Spoiled, slimy
it was bubbling.
chicken.
The chicken in the container was bubbling.
What
That's how old it was.
What was that weird thing they found? Did they find a piece of chicken, like a chicken wing in some kind of bucket of sauce? What was it?
No, it was
It was in
chicken wing in ice cream.
Oh, an ice cream. I mean, I don't know how that happened.
Uncooked chicken wing in a container of ice cream in the freezer.
That, the other common theme to these restaurants is that everybody's pointing the finger at somebody else, so nobody's taking the blame for anything.
As far as the management goes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it was so-and-so supposed to do that. Oh, well, no, it was so-and-so's day. He was supposed to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, yeah, nightmare was right. So we like to go and check up on the restaurants afterwards to see if they're still going.
Because they just do a 2-month checkup. And so we
try to check them up a year later.
Yeah.
Are they still functioning? And sometimes we see that they're not. Sometimes we see, so Gordon usually has them redo their menu. Like, for instance, this one had over 200 items on their menu.
This is like Cheesecake Factory times 5.
200 items on their menu. How on earth could you get good at 200 recipes and keep all the inventory for all that and keep it good?
Can you imagine the kitchen operating and wondering what is the audience? What are the guests going to order?
Yeah, that's just nightmare. Stupid. So Gordon usually cuts their menu down to one page. So everything that they can fit on one page. Well, the first episode, the one that we saw that had the over 200 things, we went back and checked them, and you said there was over 70 things back on their menu.
Yeah, it's like they expanded their menu again.
He had it down to like 18 items that they could do well, and they expanded it back out.
But apparently their rating was still a 4.2 according to Google out of, I don't know, over 300 ratings, something like that. Or 300 or 3,000.
And that's a 4.2 out of 5.
That's a really big difference. Yeah,
Okay, because if it's out of 10.
No, not out of 10. Yeah, out of 5. Google ratings.
Okay.
4.2 star.
Anyway, yeah, not really. I mean, it's scary in the fact that these restaurants are restaurants that we'd probably eaten at that function like this. Can you imagine?
You just don't know.
You don't.
You don't know. And you know, some people on social media will sell their food and have to abide by the cottage food laws according to the state. But I'm thinking, man, I might be less afraid of buying from that person compared to some of the restaurant ongoings that we just don't know about.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
It's hard to tell. Hard to judge. You never know what goes on back there.
Unless you work there and you see the stuff behind the scenes, you don't really know where your food is being kept and in what conditions. So
we try to eat at home as much as we can.
Maybe that's one of the good reasons for me to not eat meat. Less risk of food poisoning. Sorry, y'all meat eaters, if you're eating out, because these restaurants are nasty.
So obviously the show is, any of these quote unquote reality shows are really sensationalized, but they're still entertaining. It's hard to tell whether or not these reactions or conversations with Gordon are genuine because they're always on camera, but whatever. It's fun to watch.
So what do you rate this one? They do bleep out all language, and they actually fuzz out the mouth so you can't read the lips either. So that was kind of nice. We could watch it with the kids. They knew when he was cussing, of course, because, Gordon is good for that. He cusses a lot. But it went meep, meep, meep quite a lot.
I would probably give this particular... He's in so many shows.
So many.
I would probably give this one a 7.5. I really like MasterChef if I were to choose another one of his shows where it features more... well, it's not fine dining. There's other shows that cater to fine dining, but MasterChef is a home cook trying to find his way to stardom.
Yeah. So I would probably give this a 7. So that is Kitchen Nightmares from 2023 version of it.
Yeah,
so there's so many different versions, different series.
It's been going on for a while.
Yeah, but this one just restarted in 2023. So, okay. One that we started last week, but we didn't finish it, so we didn't review it, is Us from 2019. I still didn't finish it. You did. So I saw the very beginning, and then I conked out because I was tired, and he continued it and finished it. So go for it. Talk about Us.
I think a lot of the good things about the film are featured in the trailer. They kind of give away the plot within the trailer. And it got my attention. It held my attention for a little while. The comedy was a little bit off.
There was comedy?
Yeah. Oh. It was kind of off. And for a while, there is this mystery behind these clones of this other people. And later on, you find out that there's not a clone of just the main family, but this is something that's happening all over the world. And they all have scissors. I forget where these people are spawning from, but it shows some kind of, I will call it an alternate universe where these clones are acting out things and it's playing out in reality somewhere else. It was really weird. It was a slow start to the film.
Yeah, really slow. That's why I fell asleep.
Yeah.
It started with the mom, dad, and daughter at a carnival. The dad was supposed to keep an eye on the daughter, but of course
he doesn't.
He didn't, and she wanders away
really far,
like to the ocean.
Yeah,
and then she goes into this abandoned-looking building.
It was a house of mirrors that appeared to be unattended. It was still next to this carnival, but nobody was in there.
Creepy Von Creepsky.
Yeah, and so that's where she encounters her first clone. And then it kind of goes back and forth between when she was a young girl and into where she is a mother and wife within this family.
Yeah, so those flashback kind of movies, they lose me almost every time. I have to really be paying attention, or if they're a book to movie, I have to read the book first so that I get where it's going with the back and forth thing. It's really hard for me to follow those back and forth movies.
I agree. So... The plot line was okay. This, yeah, there. I didn't think there was much to the story that kept me engaged. The acting was pretty good.
Really? As the part I saw, the girl was just kind of expressionless, and she just wandered.
Yeah.
With no direction, and of course, in spook fashion, drops her candied apple right outside the door to the mirror maze
yeah,
thing.
That's right. So I'll go back to what I said in the beginning. A lot of the highlights or I think most of the good content was in the trailer because it tries to lead you into this mysterious plot that you think you'll like. I didn't end up liking it. I would probably rate this one a 6.
I didn't finish it, so I'm not rating. So you're gonna have to go with the 6 out of 10 rating for this one.
Even the revelation of what was going on that kind of explained everything was not real exciting. So there you go.
Yeah, I didn't get into it in the first 15 minutes that I watched.
Pass it on.
Okay. The next one is another series that we kind of stumbled upon. It's only a 6-episode series. It was really kind of quirky and kind of fun. It's The Curious Creations of Christine McConnell.
This actually looked more interesting
2018
than Us, even though it's a different genre of show.
It's another cooking show, but it's about this quirky woman who likes the weird things. Weird creatures, just the weird. And all of the food that she makes, the desserts that she makes, are all spooky themed desserts.
Really complicated, very intricate designs.
Very. And she goes through how she does it step by step. And then not only is it that, but there's this whole background story with her little weird, quirky character puppets.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of fun. It was kind of fun to watch.
I give it high ratings.
Yeah, I mean, our girls enjoyed it. They sat and watched the whole thing and thought it was so funny and cute.
And she's got that storytelling voice.
She
does. So you want to
sit
sit there and listen to it.
It's
very appealing.
It's a storytelling voice with a tinge of spooky undertone to it. So
I don't know how they found it, but I think it was a good find.
Like I said, we stumbled across it. I was kind of looking for just some little, I don't know, not really looking for a cooking show. But then saw it, and I thought, ooh, that might be kind of fun. Make some little desserts or whatever. There's no way I could make any of the things she did. No way. That stuff is so intricate. It was so much fun to watch her make it and to see the little story play out in the background. And
yeah, I got home from work, and this was on the TV, and I thought, what is this show? What are you guys watching?
It was a cute little fun thing. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was really fun to watch. And the 6 episodes were perfect length, and we sat and watched all 6 in a row.
Yeah, I just saw one. I would rate it an 8.
It was good. It was really cute.
Entertaining for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, do they ever eat any of the desserts, or do they just showcase it? I don't remember.
I think they ate it a couple of the times because she had a guest over and they sat and dished it out and she cut them and served it. And, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, the next one is an oldie but goodie. The Labyrinth from 1986. So I think this is one we watch every year in October.
Yeah, probably.
It's kind of a family favorite to pull out and watch. So Labyrinth, if you've not watched The Labyrinth before, it is kind of a fairy tale that's played out in this girl's imagination. So it's her dream that feels so lifelike, and it's almost like she's living out this dream. But then in the end, you do see that she was dreaming.
It's played by Jennifer Connelly, who played Penny Benjamin in the latest Top Gun.
Really?
Yeah, that's her.
No.
That's Maverick's girlfriend.
She's so young in this.
Oh, I didn't. I thought you knew that.
I
Oh,
did not.
Now you'll pay attention to her face, and you can tell. Oh, yeah, that's her.
Wow. Okay, then.
There you go.
All right. Well, all right. What do you have to say about Labyrinth? It's David Bowie also. So if you don't know anything about David Bowie, look him up. He is eccentric, to say the least.
That's a good word for it. I was going to say weird, but eccentric is probably better.
He's eccentric.
I mean,
But he's fun to watch. I mean, he's the kind that's entertaining and fun.
he's got an interesting. Well, so once they finally get to the labyrinth,
the labyrinth is a maze. It's a very elaborate maze that has a lot of roadblocks that you have to get through.
Do you remember
problems to solve?
Do you remember the tabletop game Labyrinth? It was this wooden construction with knobs on the ends to where you can tilt it in two directions, and it was this little ball bearing, and you'd have to navigate it. This old thing that you would find at, I don't know, the luggage store or something like that.
Nope. No, don't know nothing about that. But cool, sounds cool.
Yeah, once they entered into the labyrinth scenes, the sets are really nice. And I gotta give a lot of credit to all the people that create that stuff, because this is all practical special effects. There's I would say very little computer
generated
back in the
stuff. 80s, it just wasn't a thing then.
It was all made, and
a lot of puppet. There's a lot of puppets.
Yeah,
in it.
a lot of puppet, a lot of weird looking puppets. I like the doorknob, the door knocker puppets.
Yeah,
those guys are kind of cool. David Bowie's makeup and hair and outfit are eccentric.
I like the little gremlin looking guys.
Was he the main companion to the girl?
Uh-huh.
He was. Okay.
Yeah. So he's cute, and the wormy thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
I think one of the weird things was the well that she fell down that was just made up of a bunch of hands. That was weird.
Creepy.
Yeah.
And wasn't there an eyeball scene too, where there's just a bunch of eyeballs?
Oh, that sounds familiar, but I can't picture it.
Yeah,
I can't see it.
Lots of lots of creepy imagery, and just kind of very eccentric is the best way to describe it. Just eccentric characters and how they all play out, and
if there
try to block her from getting any further.
This is definitely a fantasy film, if you were to put it in a genre. But.
And if you're someone who likes fairies, in this one, fairies were mean and bit people.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny, because there's that other Will Smith movie where fairies were also mean.
No, fairies are not mean. They're nice and they're beautiful, and they bring you fun things.
What's her name was a fairy? Erin Brockovich was a fairy. What's that? Jennifer? No. What's her name? Actress? Pretty Woman.
Julia Roberts.
Yeah, Julia Roberts. She played Tinkerbell in Hook. The one with Robin.
Did you say Pinkerbell?
Tinkerbell. She was Tinkerbell in Hook with Robin Williams.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, she was.
That was an interesting role for her.
Yeah. So, this story is interesting. The character, Jennifer Connelly's character, is just very imaginative, and so she is living in this world that she later find out, oh, yep, it's really real, and because they're all celebrating in the end. Unless all of that is still part of her imagination.
I think it's part of her imagination.
Okay.
Because she wakes up.
Yeah. So
it goes back and forth about it. So
in that regard, it's kind of like an Alice in Wonderland deal, where that was all a dream too, right? Mm-hmm. The original Alice in Wonderland.
It's just dreamy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what would I rate? I would probably rate it a 7.
Really, that low?
It's kind of weird.
I like weird.
It's still entertaining.
I give it an 8.5. It's an 8.5. Clean 8.5.
I enjoy watching it with the kids because I like seeing their reactions.
But he only gives it a 7.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick it.
Yeah. Okay, so that's Labyrinth from 1986. The next one is called Before I Wake from 2016. This one.
I have to watch this one.
Well, you didn't watch it?
No, it's one that I worked out with Haven. You and Kale watched it.
Oh, and the girls.
And then you watched it with the girls, yeah.
So it was a clean movie for kids to watch. There were a couple scenes that were scary, so we didn't have our youngest watch that one. We had her kind of look away during those scenes, but a couple jump scares in it. Not terrible. It wasn't gory. There wasn't murder necessarily. No blood or anything like that. It was just
blood.
I guess it would be a psychological.
Yep. I can see that.
Kind of thriller sort of thing. It's basically about this little boy whose dreams come true, which also means his nightmares come true. And he had some circumstances happen in his life that caused these nightmares to be extra volatile because of a misunderstanding. And so he was put foster house to foster house, and things would happen, and then the foster parents would send him back, or they would come up missing. There was one time that the child protection came in and found him abandoned in the home, and both foster parents were nowhere to be found, and they were never found. So it was just weird things. These people just coming up missing. One or both of the foster parents would disappear. So it was kind of what happened to them? Well, then this new couple gets them, whose son had recently died. He had drowned in his bathtub. So this is the part I don't get. How does like a 6-year-old drown in his bathtub? You can't sit up. Push your butt up.
Was he laying? Did it show?
It showed him struggling to get up in the bathtub.
Oh, really?
And he's under the water and drowns.
And he dies?
We have a 6-year-old. The child can get her butt up out of the water. What do you mean you can't? What do you mean by you can't? You can't drown in a bathtub? Yeah, I just don't see that a kid this age could. 2 years old and under, absolutely, because they're not wise enough to
aware,
do it, self-aware. But this boy was like 6 years old. There is no way that he could not have gotten up.
6-year-olds are as active as can be.
So as far as that goes, it was a little bit like, really? Come on now. I think you're stretching here for this kid to have died that way. But anyway, that's just a small portion of the whole story. So anyways, this couple decides to go ahead and take this boy who has been flip-flopped from home to home, but still seems to be cheerful and happy. But they find that he won't go to sleep, and then they find out why. So I don't want to give away too much of the story, but it's kind of going through that, and then the mother has to... the foster mother has to figure out a way how to save this boy from these nightmares that have been haunting him for years and years and years.
From the few minutes that I did see on the TV, this kind of has a Slumberland aspect to it, to where maybe the writers have to be really creative with what is seen in these dreams, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. It's not as creative and lively as Slumberland, though.
Oh, okay.
It's not. Okay. It doesn't go like that. So I wouldn't put it in that same category.
Okay.
Slumberland had so much imagination in it, and
so this one doesn't have.
This one does not have that variety of imagination. No, okay. It's pretty much the same images that play out over and over.
Slumberland was our first episode.
Slumberland was our first ever episode that we reviewed. Yeah. So this one was good, though. I like that it was clean, and I like that my kids like to watch some scary movies sometimes that are not gory and disgusting, and this one was a good one that they could actually watch and sorry, scratched you, and enjoy.
What would you rate it?
I would probably rate it 7.5 out of 10.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It is nice when the kids can watch stuff with you.
Yeah, it is.
enjoy it as a family.
Yeah, especially when it's a little bit on the spooky side.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was Before I Wake from 2016.
If I die.
Let's see, the next few are all on you.
They are? Are they really?
Yeah, Open 24 Hours from 2018. I did not watch this one at all. Oh, guest rates the last one 7 out of 10. Okay,
Oh, there
so
you go.
you're pretty close to what my rating was. Good.
Yeah, we have a guest joining us named Guest.
Okay, so back to Open 24 Hours from 2018.
I was just scrolling through Prime trying to find a movie in the horror category, and this one kind of looked appealing just by its thumbnail and the description. So I started out, and the first few minutes I could tell that okay, this is pretty well produced. Nice aesthetic to it. Takes place in a gas station for the most part. The acting is pretty convincing, and you are invested in what is going to happen to them. Really simple set, a few characters, a simple but engaging plot line, and so the main character is she has these episodes where she sees things that are not there, and then there is this killer that always makes himself present and scares her, goes after her, and it's always hard for her to distinguish reality from fiction. So it's pretty interesting, and it builds up pretty gradually throughout the story, and then it ends with the clincher is a little bit cliche, but I would say overall it was a pretty decent film for a random find that I did no research on. So I would encourage that you check that one out, because oftentimes, I would say more often than not, if I pick something random, it is some kind of B horror film that is poorly produced,
Terrible.
and effects are bad, story is bad. But it did not have that independent film feel to it, but all actresses that I've never heard of before, and so I kind of like that about a movie also. So yeah, I would give it a shot. I would give it a 7.5.
Nice. IMDb, it's only a 5.5. So
What do they know?
right. All right, so that was Open 24 Hours from 2018. The next one, so what order do you want to do these in? Because they're kind of related.
I guess we can talk about the one that we watched.
Okay, The Omen from 1976. Y'all, that movie's older than me.
And the reason why we watched this one is because I watched, it's called The First Omen, which happened to be a prequel, and it was 2024. So I knew nothing except for hearing about the title, The Omen. I've never seen it before, but I thought I would watch The First Omen. Just the trailer looked interesting. So anyway, we'll talk about The Omen.
Yeah, so I watched all but the last 30 minutes because I fell asleep. Again, these early mornings, y'all, are tough. But it was interesting. I didn't catch what happened for the birth. Did you catch that? Because they talked about it later, the birth of the child.
You later learn that the child that was born and why he was
he
a
really their
nuisance.
parent, their kid?
Oh, you know what? That detail I can't remember. I forget that detail, but
Because the priest made it sound like it was not
the mother, or not.
they were not actually the parents of
Right.
this child. So this baby was born and he was labeled the Antichrist by this priest.
And later on, you see, 3 6s on his forehead. They had, or I'm pointing to the forehead in the back, to the crown of his head.
That was on his head?
It was on his head, kind of a raised skin, kind of a six that kind of formed rose petals.
Interesting.
3 sixes. So he had the mark. And so that's.
You
Dun,
see
dun,
throughout the
dun.
movie, kind of he gives these looks, and then people do weird things, like kill
Things happen.
themselves, or they will kill somebody else, or
yeah.
he kills them in one way or another.
Yeah.
So a lot of killing, a lot of death are circling this boy. You know, anybody he comes into contact with really that in any way has an inkling against him ends up dead.
There's a contrast of how they portray the horror in this one and the first Omen. I think we can see that generally in a lot of films. It's more. Well, I think I want to say they go for more shock factor with things nowadays. If they're trying to maybe make up for a poor story, so they.
Yeah. Make it more slasher.
So this one has a lot of dialogue, not a lot of scary sights, but when the
Right.
scary scenes do appear, they're really disturbing.
They're over dramatized. I mean, not over
Over-dramati-
dramatized, but they're dramatized heavily.
Yeah. And so there's these really, really low-key moments, and then, wow, what just happened? Mm-hmm. The mom just fell from the balcony of the
20
floor.
stories from the
or
hospital because she was thrown by this
Somebody just
crazy
hung themselves, right?
person. Yeah. In the middle of a family festival.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
So, yep, there's a few peaks here in the film. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was because it was late at night or the story wasn't great, but I was having trouble staying awake too.
Yeah. Clearly same.
Yeah. I would say, if we're going to go for a movie that's in this similar time period, something like The Exorcist is a lot more scarier.
Yeah, it keeps your attention a little more.
Yeah. This one was just kind of slow, I think. A little bit slow.
You really had to be focusing and paying attention to get what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard as parents of 4.
Yeah.
Late at night.
I don't know. I have heard of this film a lot. I'm surprised I had just never watched it, and I didn't realize it was made in the 70s. Anyway, I would probably give it probably 6.5.
We'll go with that rating because I didn't finish it. I didn't see the last 30 minutes, so I can't accurately rate it. So we'll go with his 6.5 on this one.
In the end, you learn that the kid's still around, the parents are still around.
No, not the mother.
Yeah.
She lived.
Wait.
No, she died.
She died.
She fell 20 stories and busted her back in the ambulance as
Yeah.
she went through the top of it.
That's right. Yeah.
She did not live.
The dad is, and then there are maybe 2 or 3 more Omen movies prior to the first Omen from this year.
Okay, so do you want to talk about that one anymore, or did you pretty much say what you need, say your piece? So the first Omen from 2024.
Oh yeah, I'll talk more about that one.
Go for it.
The build is a little bit slow. I kind of like the aesthetic of this film, and when I say that, I kind of mean the way everything's colored and a little bit desaturated to make it a little bit spooky, so the colors are not vibrant. So we get this dead feel, I guess. You see that in some horrors. I guess The Walking Dead kind of does this also. There's just a lot of drab, dull, desaturated colors with a lot of contrast. And this story follows this she's going to be a nun about to say her vows. Is that what they do?
What?
A nun about to say their vows. Is that something that they do? She goes to
I'm
this
not
church.
a nun. I don't know.
She goes to this church, and I think she's in preparation to do that, and then she sees this birth. So this film is a bit graphic in some places, and it's a little bit more disturbing than the original film. and you learn that she is used to. Okay, I'll describe what the church. She had learned something. She had learned what the church was going to do, and that is the Catholic Church was seeing how humankind was pretty irredeemable, so they wanted the end of the world to come a bit sooner, and so they have been trying to find these women to birth the Antichrist, and they were impregnated by this thing that was kind of hidden in the corner that did not look human. I don't know what you want to... some kind of demon, I guess, that was often in the shadows. Really weird. And so you learn that the main character... Does she birth? Yeah, she does birth the Antichrist and kind of cares about it. And later on, they just kind of go off and live... They try to live their own life away from everybody else because she birthed the baby. She didn't want to kill the baby, even though it was the Antichrist. So it was a little bit more interesting to watch compared to the first one, just because the story was a little bit more compelling. That's that.
Okay, so your rating.
I'll probably give it a 7. So not much higher than the original. It's weird. Kind of interesting how man took it in their own hands by trying to... Because, it says in the Bible that the Antichrist will come out of nowhere from somewhere, but they try to make it happen on their own. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lovely. Take things into their into their own hands. So.
All right. So there you have it. That was the first Omen from 2024. And that is a wrap. That is all of our movies for this week.
Not to be confused with the first Omen from 1976.
That's why I give the year.
The Omen.
I give the name and the year.
It's funny, right?
He acts like I don't know my job.
It's funny, right?
No. You need to work on that.
I unmuted our microphone for the first time. I did good there. Right?
He needs to work on his sense of humor. He's losing it. Too much Bananas Foster.
Too much. I'm learning to perfect Bananas Foster. It's tasty.
I like your chocolate chip cookies better.
Be one cookie.
So, our sponsor for today.
Be one cookie.
Oh, anyway. So pop back on our channel on Tuesday and find out what we review for our Tuesday movie review. Friday Fave?
It might show up this week. We'll see.
I don't know what that voice was supposed to be, but maybe you'll get a Friday Fave. And then next Sunday for our live, as usual, 9:30.
So.
Be there or be square.
We will see you next time.